Hi darlings, and welcome back to Pass or Smash, new makeup edition. So, here on Pass or Smash, we talk about new makeup releases, primarily indie brand launches, and we decide if we want to pass, as in buy bitch, or smash, add to cart. So, lots of new goodies this week. Happy St. Patty's Day, or hope you had a great St. Patty's Day, or St. Patrick's Day for those who are a little particular. So every week I go through the new releases. I'm Liz. Hi, I'm a makeup enthusiast. And I go through the new releases that I see and I just kind of see what catches my eye. So if that sounds like something you want to see regularly, then please like and subscribe and all that jazz. And as always, I will put any information I can find for you in the description box, as well as any codes, because why pay full price if we don't have to? You know? So anyway, let's get into the goodies because there's lots of things this week. So the first thing is Alter Ego. Now, Alter Ego has a new palette. Boink, here. This is a Dreamgaze palette. Now, obviously, it's a pastel color story, and there's, light pinks and greens and blues and all that. Now, this palette is $22, and it's reminiscent of the Natasha Denona Pastels palette. Now, if you remember that came out, I don't know, a couple years ago, and it's no longer available, at least not on their website from when I checked. So, obviously, this palette here, it looks like there's a few satins in here. Alter Ego does not put shade descriptions on their site about what the finish is of that shade. So I find that to be a little frustrating. Now, for me, this is going to be a pass. This is not my jam. While I think it's okay, it is what it is, right? But I feel like there are other palettes out there that have done this same color story over and over again. I know the Blend Bunny has one. Even Give Me Glow has one. They're just kind of all over the place. And there's nothing about this that screams anything special to me. It's literally all just pastels, which is fine. It's a pastel palette. But I like a little bit of depth. And if you're going to have a palette of pastels, for me, that would be a companion palette. And I already have one of those. So for me, this is going to be a pass. Okay, so Klarity Kosmetics has a surprise drop. They didn't do any any of the pre-cool stuff. They were just like, oh, by the way, boom, here's an eyeshadow palette. So they have a new palette. This is the Euphoria palette. Obviously, there's reds, and then there's like purples and pops up blue there. This palette is $48 for 12 pans. And for me, it's going to be a no from me, dog. There are 7 mattes and 5 shimmers. Now, while their shimmers look very sparkly, in the palettes, I should say, how many palettes do I have from them? I have 2 palettes from them. The Evil Mermaid palette, which was absolute garbage. And that's like an all blue color story. And then I also have their pastel palette. I cannot recommend their formula from my experience. Now, whether or not that formula has changed remains to be seen. But from the experiences that I've had with their formula, I'm going to absolutely say no. It's $48 for 12 pans. And honestly, this color story feels a little bit repetitive for the brand. They had their Dark Blooms palette. They had their 9-pan Valentine's release with all the reds in it as well. And while I think it is pretty, the colors are pretty, the reds look very pretty, I just have not had a great experience with the formula itself. Now, I know a lot of people have complained about customer service from Klarity. I have not had those kinds of issues, so I can't speak on that. But from my experience with the formula and for this price point, $48 for 12 pans is quite a bit. People complain that Inslee Raine is charging $88 for 21 pans, but this is $48 for 12. They also complain that Adept Cosmetics charges $70, give or take, before a code, for 15 pans. But this is $48 for 12. So, take it as it is. It's right in line with Adept pricing. So, I don't know. For me, this is going to be a pass. I'm not interested in this color story, and I'm not interested in the formula. So, at some point in the future, if they, say they have a new formula or, whatever, I'd be interested in trying the brand again. But for me, it's going to be a no-go. Oh, I feel like I'm so sinusy. Okay, so BellaBeauté. I don't know if it's Beauté or Beauté. I always say Beauté because that's how it's spelled, but BellaBeautéBar has restocked their Pastel Gardens palette. So if you missed out on that palette last year, then this would be your opportunity to get it again. Now, this palette is huge. It is $69, and you can use a code on it. I'll put it in the description box. I think Caitlin House has one that I'll put in there for you. But I still like this palette. I still think about this palette. It looks very pretty. Do I need more pastels? No. But if I was going to get more pastels, this would probably be the palette that I would get. I do like their formula. This is $69 and you get all those shades. So anyway, so that's available now if you missed out. I just wanted to mention it because it's back. Okay, so on to the next now. Titanium Foxes, if you remember, they came out with their first palette earlier this year. So they are now sneak peeking the packaging for a new palette. So after the Poppy Storm comes the Poppy Calm, and here is the outside carton there. So that color story will remain to be seen. As they reveal it, then we will talk about it again. But in the meantime, there's packaging. And speaking of packaging leaking, apparently, Colourpop is collabing with Pokemon. They have a Jigglypuff packaging that got leaked. And I am very curious because I happen to love the Pokemon. I love the Pokemon. I love the shows. I love the movies. I love the games. So we will see. Colourpop has really gone down this like whole path of nostalgia, right? And they're really appealing to the anime crowd, which I'm here for because I happen to love anime. But they're really like appealing to that niche of consumers. And there's a lot more like of us than I think most, demographics have realized. And I think over the last, I don't know, year and a half, 2 years, Colourpop has really just kind of stepped in and said, we got you. We're going to give you some mediocre collabs. So let's see if that trend continues with this next one. But for now, here's a sneak peek. So we'll see. Okay, so Colored Raine has a really interesting new palette. I think it's a really interesting approach to a palette. So this is their new palette. It's the Can Quad palette, I believe is what it's called. It's $36. There are 16 shades. And firstly, the outside packaging, I have to give them credit. It is really cute. I have an old school Polaroid. It's like the newer version of an old school Polaroid, but I had an old school Polaroid, RIP, and here we are again. But I think it's a really cute little, honestly, it looks like the Kodak one if we're going to nitpick. But anyway, I think it's a really interesting approach to a palette. So there's 16 pans, but they're arranged as 4 quads. And each of those quads has 3 mattes and then 1 ultra reflective, like metallic-y type shimmer. So I think this is a really interesting color story. If this was on sale, I would say smash, but do I need this? I don't. But I do think it's really interesting. I think it's innovative. Now, I've only ever tried Colored Raine one time. I tried them for the Rebellious Nudes palette, and I had such longevity issues with that formula. I could not get more than like 6 hours of wear out of every look I created with that palette. Now, if you've been here before, you know I don't like to wear a primer, but even with the primer, it extended the wear by maybe 2 hours, and that was it. So it literally just like disappeared on my eyes over the course of the day, and I don't quite know why. But it's just one of those formulas that it didn't really work for me. Now, if this is, I don't know if this is that same formula. If it is, then I would absolutely not be interested in it. But I applaud their creativity with the packaging, and I applaud this like innovative concept. I think it's really interesting. I'm going to say pass, but if I saw this on sale, I would buy it. If it was a good sale, I would consider buying this. But I'm going to say pass because I don't need it in my collection. I know that was like a long roundabout way of saying pass, but I like it, but I don't want it, but I kind of want it. Do you know what I mean? Okay, we are drinking H2O tonight. Nature's Golden Liquid. That is not Nature's Golden Liquid. Get your minds out of the gutter. All right, so Glamlite has finally revealed the, well, they revealed it last week, but I just did not have the energy to deal with it. The details of their KISS collection. So the KISS collection is here. So there are several items in this collection, so let's talk about them. There is a lenticular motion, which means, you know, like when you turn it, it shifts. Makeup bag, so that is there, that is $35. Now there is a lipstick duo, and that's a lip liner and a lipstick, and I believe it's a bullet lipstick, and that is going to be here. That is $16. There is a mascara and a mascara primer duo here, and the white one is the primer, and that is $16 as well. And I don't think I've seen reverse. I don't think I've seen a mascara primer from Glamlite. Now, I've heard good things about their mascara, but I haven't tried it myself, so I can't vouch for it, but I am curious about that because I have not seen that from them before. So that's going to be there. Now, I am so happy that they did not fuck this up. I got to give them credit. So they have an eye base duo, which is here. And it's a black eyeshadow base and a white eyeshadow base. And if you did not have that iconic KISS, you know, white face thing going, or the black base for doing like the big, you know, lightning bolt type of graphic detailing, if you didn't have that, I would hope that KISS fans would riot. But they did, and I'm happy for them. So that duo is there. I believe that's $14. I don't have my paper in front of me because my printer is fucked up right now. Haven't figured that out. So we're just lollygagging, quick referencing here. But that's going to be there. And then the eyeshadow palette. So the eyeshadow palette is 20 pans. Here it is. And this color story kind of looks like a mashup of the last 4 palettes that they've done. So is everyone at Glam, are you guys okay? Is everyone okay over at Glamlite? We're seeing, listen, I love a grungy mood, okay? But like, we're seeing a lot of gray tone, grungy, I wouldn't call them dirty tones, but that's kind of like that grunginess, right? Where there's more gray in the colors themselves of here, and you have those reds, you have a pop of blue, you've got grungy greens, and I don't know how this relates to KISS because I'm going to be frank with you. I don't know that much about KISS. It is a bit before my time. But it's there. It's 20 pans and this palette is $36. And this is not screaming to me. This looks like the Freddie and Jason palette, like got mushed together with the Chucky palette, which got mushed together with, what was the other one that they just did? That was like this, exactly like this. But I have to give them credit. It does go from light to dark. You do have that like pop of white and you do have that black shade in there. But this is an easy pass for me. There's nothing about this that screams, Liz, come by me. I love colorful makeup. I love grungy makeup. I just don't love this. So this is a pass for me. Now you can buy the PR box if you wanted that like fancy packaging. That's $120 for the bundle collection. Otherwise, you can get the collection without the PR box, and that's $99. And the individual items are available as well, at least at time of filming. I don't see anything that's sold out, and I checked a little bit ago. So this is a pass for me. I was not feeling it anyway, and then just like, it's not my vibe, but if it's your vibe, then I love it for you. Rock on with the KISS. I'm more of a Disturbed rock kind of girl. Actually, I love all kinds of rock, but Disturbed was the first one that came to mind because they're awesome. So, and if things feel a little bit disjointed today, that's because I'm stopping filming and then like referencing my notes and then starting filming again because, like I said, my printer is on the fritz because I am not the tech savvy one. And somehow I ended up being, okay, in a relationship, there's always a tech savvy person and there's always the person who cannot stand the technology. And somehow me, who is not a fan of technology, at least not electronic technology, you know, somehow I ended up being the tech person. I don't know how the fuck that happened, but My husband's even worse than I am. So it's going to be a project for another time, but it is not this day. So Mooncat has a new collection, and it is 6. It's called the Twice Upon a Fairy Tale collection here. And they're very pretty. These are like iridescent, like kind of special reflective shades. There's iridescence. There's a couple of different, textures there. There's kind of a glimmer, iridescence, more metallic, and it's really pretty. I don't need any eyeshadow, nail polish right now, but I do really like the Mooncat one, that like the ones that I have. And if I was going to get any of these, I really just want like kind of that bluish mermaid color there. That's like multi-chrome and opaque. That looks really pretty to me, but this is going to be a pass for me. Now, at the time of filming, I did not see these listed as individual polishes. I did go on their site and I saw the bundle collection, but I didn't see them as individual ones. So I don't know if that's going to be something that they do in the future, or if they're like pre-existing polishes that are just not available right now as individuals. But yeah, I think it is really cute though. I love their photography. Whoever does their brand photography deserves a pat on the back. Pat yourself on the back. Because I think they do just a beautiful job of capturing the colors. And listen, I appreciate the hell out of it. So, but we're going to say pass because I don't need any more. And I'm trying to be a bit more frugal and a bit more selective with my makeup purchases. That said, Lunar Beauty has a new collection coming, and I might have to buy it. Okay. So this is the Moon Shroom collection. Now, this is going to be available as individual items, but it's also going to be available on a bundle. And the bundle saves you between 15 and 17%, I believe is what Manny said. So this is here. Now, this collection consists of an 18-pan eyeshadow palette here. And there are 12 mattes and then 6 ultra reflective shimmers in the center. Most of those shimmers are going to be opaque, except for one of them is like a topper shade, more like an iridescent shade. And then there are 6 mattes. Now the top row has like several different, they look very similar in the pan, but in the swatches, to me, they look different. I definitely see a difference in the shades of those yellows, like the tones are different. So you have the yellows, you have that pop of emerald, and you have the browns, and if you have that like pop of those olive greens, and then a little not periwinkle, but like lavender kind of pop. I think that's a really nice accompaniment, especially I think it's going to play especially well with the little eggplant kind of a shade there. So this is going to be $48 full price. And if the layout looks familiar, that's because one of Lunar Beauty's previous palettes, and I can't remember, Nude Prism maybe, had the exact same layout. And it's a layout that I see Simply Posh use as well, where you have the 12 shimmers and making a sandwich basically, or the 12 mattes making a sandwich out of the shimmers. I also really like that format. So I'm glad to see that they are creating some kind of uniformity. I am curious if this format is going to be something that Lunar Beauty uses moving forward. Now, if this color story, if it seems like it's a little familiar to you, well, it looks to me like an expanded version of Raw Beauty Christie's At Forest Sight palette. So, that's there, right? So let me put a picture of that right there so you can see. So that's Raw Beauty Christie's, and then here is the Moon Shroom from Lunar Beauty. So to me, it does look a lot like Raw Beauty Christie's, tonally even. So if you missed out on that palette, but you wanted that color story, maybe this is a good option for you. I do like it though. I think it's pretty, and I absolutely love that mushrooms are like having a moment, because I am a mushy lover. I think it's, they're fascinating. I'm interested in mycology, so I think it's really cool to see them having a moment. Manny did say this whole collection was inspired by a documentary on Netflix, and I will put a picture of it like right there because I can't remember the name of it. But I do think it's interesting. There's a couple more items that go with this collection. So a highlighter quad. Now, Lunar Beauty hasn't done a highlighter in a long time. And this is inspired by their Goddess 6-pan palette. highlighter palette that they had before. That was limited edition, and that was released 6 years ago. So this is a 4-pan kind of nod to that. There are 3 highlighter shades. The bronzer one for more deeper skin tones that can double as an eyeshadow palette if it's not your color, or an eyeshadow for a shade if it's not like your skin tone. And then the pink one is like more of a blush topper. And the performance of this looks really good in the promo video, but again, it's a promo video, so I've never tried Lunar Beauty's highlighter, so I'm not sure, but it looks nice to me. And then along with this collection, there are 3 lip gloss shades. So there's more of a bronze, kind of a gold shade, which seems to have a bit more opacity, but it's not too brown. Then there's kind of a baby pink, which not for me, that's butthole lips, but this one seems like it's a bit more transparent, so that'd be fine. And then there is an iridescent, like it's a clear with lots of different color sparkle, like reflective shades. That is right up my alley. I like a clear lip gloss with sparkles. I'm curious about how gritty this is gonna feel on the lips. But those are gonna retail for $17 each. And if I didn't mention it, that highlighter palette retails for $36. So the lip glosses will be available as a bundle, and the bundle will be $40. So you save a little bit if you want just the lip glosses. Now, the collection as a whole will be bundled. You will not be able to use a code on the bundles, but you will be able to use a code on individual items. So if you wanted just single items, then you would be able to do that. I'm gonna say smash. Am I gonna buy it? I don't know. Probably not. Probably not. I'm trying to be good. I'm trying, but sometimes they get me. You guys know I have a love affair with color stories, if you're not familiar. But I'm gonna say smash. I think it is lovely. Now, the eyeshadow palette, if you have the Natasha Denona Yucca palette, do you need that eyeshadow palette? Probably not. You probably have the colors already. With the exception, if you pull the purples out of the Natasha Denona Yucca palette, if you pull the purples out of the Lunar Beauty one, you basically have the Natasha Denona Yucca palette, which I think is interesting, that, you know, this just kind of a thing. It's like the Yucca palette and Raw Beauty Christie's palette had a love child, and then Manny was like sprinkling purple. So I do think it's pretty. And my darlings, I think that's all I have for you today. So thank you for being here. If you made it this far, will you leave me a balloon emoji, because I am wearing hot air balloon earrings. They're so cute. And thank you for watching Pass or Smash. I know this is like a day late, but it's spring break here right now. And I don't know if you've ever tried to film something with two small children under like 5 and under. But it's chaos. So here we are. I hope you had a great St. Patty's Day. I know some people get so triggered if you don't say St. Patrick's. I don't give a shit. They use the words both ways where I live, and that's how I speak. And you don't have to like it, but here we are. And my darlings, thanks so much for watching my rambling craziness of an evening. I hope you have a wonderful night wherever you are, and I don't know, I got nothing. Bye.